Let me paint you a picture. Your child has been in their room for 2 hours, you've brought them a drink, you've checked in once, they've been in there the whole time. When they come down, they look tired. They probably were working hard. But here's a question worth asking, and it's not an accusation, it's a genuine diagnostic. How much of those 2 hours were actual focus work? Because here's what the research tells us about how human attention really functions. Deep, effortful, undistracted focus, the kind that produces real memory encoding, is available in approximately 25-minute windows. After that, without a deliberate break, concentration starts to fragment. The mind drifts. You've seen that work. You've seen that in you, maybe. You've seen that in your child. Small distractions start to grow. The total time increases and the actual output doesn't keep pace with it. A 2-hour session without a structured break is not more effective than a structured 2-hour session with built-in rests. It's less effective, often significantly less effective. So this thing called the Pomodoro technique is designed around how attention actually works. And once you understand it, you can support it in a way that makes a real difference. Not by supervising your child's revision, but by understanding what a good session looks like and what a depleted one looks like. The Pomodoro technique is a structured work method built on one central insight. The human brain works best in focused bursts with deliberate recovery periods between them. The method is pretty straightforward, but it has 4 components. Firstly, 25 minutes of completely unbroken, single-task focus work. One subject, one specific task within that subject. Here's the tough bit, maybe. Phone completely away, not face down, away, nothing else. A 5-minute break is the second part after the 25 minutes. A genuine break away from the work, ideally involving some physical movement. A walk to the kitchen, walk to the lounge, walk the dog, move, stand up, stand at the window, have a discussion about anything non-work related, not scrolling a phone, not thinking about what comes next, but a genuine rest. Then after 4 of these cycles, a longer break, 30 minutes or so, food if needed, proper movement, full reset. Then if you can, if it works, repeat if more revision is needed. That structure, 25 on, 5 off, 4 times, then a longer rest, produces more actual learning per hour than any unstructured revision session of the same length. Not because the student worked harder, because they worked in alignment with how human attention and memory consolidation actually works. The science behind the breaks is pretty convincing. So I want you to understand what the breaks are actually doing, because this is the part most people get wrong. The break is not a reward. It's not a concession to laziness. It's not time that could be better spent revising. The break is when consolidation happens. You see in the gym, if you do loads of exercise, your muscles get depleted until they rest and then get stronger. During a focused 25-minute session, your child is encoding new information, retrieving quotes, building analytical connections, applying a technique to new material. That 5-minute break, the brain files that information into long-term memory. The hippocampus, the brain's memory processing center, takes what was encoded in the last session and begins transferring it towards long-term storage. If your child skips the break and goes straight into the next session, the consolidation of the previous session is interrupted. They encoded the information, but they didn't file it. And unfiled information is fragile. It's in working memory, not long-term storage. And working memory is temporary by design, whereas the break is the filing cabinet. You cannot skip the filing and then wonder why the information doesn't retrieve properly in the exam. But here's what the phone has to do with it. This I want to spend a moment on the phone, because this is where the technique most commonly breaks down. Research by Gloria Mark at the University of California found that after a digital interruption, a notification, a message, a quick check, it takes on average 23 minutes to return to the same depth of focus. Not 30 seconds, not a few minutes, 23 minutes. That means a single notification, ding, on my watch or on my phone. That single notification during a 25-minute Pomodoro session does not cost your child 30 seconds of distraction. It potentially costs them the entire session. The depth of focus that takes 5 to 7 minutes to establish is gone, and re-establishing it takes longer than the remaining time in the session. The phone cannot be on the desk. It cannot be face down on the desk. It needs to be in a different room ideally, or a different part of the room during the Pomodoro window. This is the conversation that's worth having before the revision session starts, rather than during it. Not as a rule imposed from outside, but as an explanation. The phone in a different room during the timer produces sessions where the 25 minutes is genuinely 25 minutes. The phone is on the desk. That produces sessions where 25 minutes is, on average, something more like 8 to 12 minutes of actual focus. Which one do you want? That's the question. Frame that way, most teenagers will make the right choice. So asking the question, do you want 20 minutes of focused attention? Is it worth it? So that after 25 minutes, we can have some screen time, you can connect with your friends or whatever the thing is. So here's how it works in your house best. So from your side of the door, your child goes in, sets a timer for 25 minutes, puts their phone somewhere that isn't in the revision space. They work. At the 25-minute mark, they come out, they move around. They might talk to you for 5 minutes. That's great. That's a good break. They go back in 4 cycles. They take then a proper break, 20 to 30 minutes. This might look like stopping too soon to you. They might have only been in the room for a total of 2 hours. That can feel like not enough. But here's the thing. 2 hours of structured Pomodoro work is more effective than 4 hours of unstructured drift. The metric is not time in the room. The metric is focused intervals completed with proper breaks between them, allowing the brain to put all of that new information into the files. If your child tells you they've done 4 Pomodoros, that's a brilliant revision session. That's a session worth acknowledging and not undermining by suggesting they should stay in longer. One practical thing you can do though, maybe you're in charge of the timer and we can work on it together, and by the time we get to the end of that 25 minutes, you've got something. Could be a cuppa, could be a biscuit, could be something for them. It could be here's something I saw on YouTube for you to watch, something away from the learning. The single most practical thing you can do to support the Pomodoro technique is to protect the break. When your child comes out of their room after 25 minutes, resist the urge to use that moment Don't ask how it went. Don't ask about the exam. Don't suggest they make it a longer break because they seem tired. Just let the break be a break. 5 minutes of genuine rest, of not thinking about the revision. That's the consolidation window. If that window gets filled with a conversation about how revision is going, you have accidentally interrupted the very process you're trying to support. The break can be just a glass of water, a minute standing at the back door, a brief pause, a nothingness, and then back. You can check in after the full session. After the 4 Pomodoros and the longer break, that's the moment for a conversation if you want one. So what I want you to take from this video is not just the Pomodoro technique. I want you to take the idea that structured work with deliberate rest is not softer than grinding through a long session without breaks. It's harder in the right ways and easier in the wrong ones. It's harder because it requires your child to have complete focus and commit completely for 25 minutes. No half measures, no drift, full attention. And it's easy because 25 minutes is manageable. You set your watch, 25 minutes, every half an hour we go again for 4 times. Anyone can sustain focus for 25 minutes, but nobody can truly sustain it for 2.5 hours, no matter how much they care, no matter how much they want to. So when your child uses this method consistently, 2 things happen. Their revision becomes more effective per hour, and they stop dreading it as much, because a defined 25-minute session is a fundamentally different psychological proposition from an open-ended marathon. Support the structure, protect the breaks, remove the phone conversation before it needs to be a battle. And if you haven't already shown your child the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rule from the previous video, the countdown that gets them into the first Pomodoro when they're sitting there not quite starting, that combination is everything. Can't wait to see you in the next training with the countdown. Set the timer, work in focus burst, then rest properly. That's not just a revision system, that's how high performers in every field operate. Your child can do this. You just gave them the tools. Well done.